Lieutenant Commander Belfield, members of the ship's company, distinguished guests, friends and citizens of Leeds. Whilst I am privileged to be able to welcome Commander Belfield and the ship's crew to Leeds for a short time, to acknowledge the value of the friendship that has existed with the City of Leeds for over 60 years, and to extend a very warm welcome. I am also deeply saddened because of recent events. This is likely to be the last occasion of this kind in the foreseeable future. As many of you here today will know, the association between Leeds and HMS Ark Royal dates back to World War II and the third ship, Ark Royal. During the war, various government-sponsored campaigns were mounted to encourage people to save in support of the war effort. One of these was a series of warship weeks, and the one for Leeds was arranged for the 30th of January to the 7th of February 1942. On the 4th of November 1941, in anticipation of the week and to add objective and incentive to the campaign, the City of Leeds, through its National Savings Committee, decided to adopt HMS Ark Royal. A target of £3 million was set. 10 days later, on the 14th of November, sadly, the Ark Royal was sunk. Immediately, the target was raised to £5 million, but such was the enthusiasm of the people of Leeds. 9,301,293 was invested, the equivalent today of almost £300 million. In addition to the money invested, the week produced such a fervent response that people queued at the Civic Hall throughout the week to hand into the Lord Mayor's office small personal and collective sums as gifts to the nation. These totaled more than £20,000. On the 19th of September 1942, the adoption became official when, after ceremony in Leeds attended by Lord Chatfield, Captain E. Elgood, RN, received the City of Leeds coat of arms, and in return presented to the city the Ark Royal badge. The City of Leeds plaque commemorating the adoption can be seen in the Civic Hall today, the banqueting suite. It is normally on the quarterdeck of the ship, and the Ark Royal badge is displayed also in the banqueting suite. May 1950 witnessed the launch and naming of Ark Royal by Her Majesty the Queen, the late Queen Elizabeth, mother of the present Queen. And the ceremony was attended by the Lord Mayor and Lady Mayoress of Leeds, Alderman and Mrs. Norman E. Vine, and a group of 20 cadets from Leeds, whose unit had adopted the name TS Ark Royal. On the 25th of October 1973, the Lord Mayor, Aldermen and citizens of the City and County Borough of Leeds, wishing to recognise the long and close association between the City and the ship Ark Royal, conferred upon her the freedom of entry into the City, and thereby the privilege, honour and distinction of marching through the streets of the City on all ceremonial occasions, with bayonets fixed, drums beating and colours flying. The occasion was honoured by the presence of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II and the Queen's mother, who inspected the Guard of Honour, and later employed to the royal address of welcome delivered by the Lord Mayor. The deed conferring the freedom of entry was read by the town clerk and handed by the Lord Mayor to the captain of HMS Ark Royal, Captain A.D. Cassidy, RN. So freedom of the city for nearly 38 years, and this freedom has been exercised on a number of occasions with the ship's company marching through the streets. But yesterday, when members of the ship's company visited Leeds Parish Church to deliver 2 Robert Thompson, Mouseman Thompson, chairs from the ship's chapel, they returned to find a parking ticket on the windscreen. It just goes to show that even though you may have freedom of the city, you can't escape the staff in parking services, so I hope you've all parked safely. Hopefully this will not be something, hopefully the ship will not remember Leeds for this occasion. They'll remember us for the warm welcome we shall give them throughout the day. Although there is no certainty that another ship will actually bear the name Ark Royal, I know that the people of Leeds will continue to hold dear the genuine affection for the very special links with the city. And I also note that there is some talk about forming an Ark Royal Society to keep that link going, and it's something that I certainly would support, and I hope there are people in the audience who might be interested to do that also. On a personal note, the Lady Mayoress and I were privileged to visit the ship in Portsmouth on the 4th and 5th of November 2010 in the presence of Her Majesty the Queen to mark the 25th anniversary of the ship's commissioning on the 1st of November 1985. And during that visit we had opportunity of touring the ship and meeting with officers and crew. It was an extremely enjoyable occasion for myself and the Lady Mayoress. It also coincided with my birthday on the 4th of November, so it was a very precious birthday. We really enjoyed it, and thank you to the crew and officers for that. May I finish by saying, Commander Belfield and members of the ship's company, you are all truly welcome here as our guests in the city of Leeds. Thank you very much.
Lord Mayor, Lord Lieutenant, High Sheriff, other distinguished guests, and ladies and gentlemen of Leeds and the ship's company of HMS Ark Royal. Lord Mayor, can I thank you very much indeed for your very kind words of introduction. It's a real privilege for us to be here this weekend. But what a really special day. This day is not sad, but it's a day of celebration. Celebration of the 25 years we've had of the links between this Ark Royal, our Ark Royal, and the city of Leeds. But also celebrate the links that we've had throughout the ages with the previous ships since 1943. When the members of the ship's company join, they're all given a brief by the commanding officer. And this brief talks through the history of Ark Royal and name in the previous ships. Of course, we are supposed to be the 5th Ark Royal, but actually we're the 6th, because the first commanding officer of the first Ark Royal was Noah. But formally the first Ark Royal was in 1588, and the flagship of the Spanish Armada. And that really sets the context of the flagship of the British fleet against the Spanish Armada, and that sets the context for all the subsequent Ark Royals. And can we, in particular the ship's company of the 5th Ark Royal, thank Leeds for the £9,301,293 you raised in 1943, because that ensured that the name Ark Royal would continue in future years. You mentioned the sinking of Ark Royal the 3rd, and we have some members of that ship's company here in the audience today. And the Happy Ark, as she was known, really set the spirit for all the subsequent ships. And indeed, I'm sure that we continue that legacy today. But the generosity of the city over many years has been very much appreciated, and we look forward to this happening again in the future. Now, there are many examples of the close affiliation between Leeds and Ark Royal, but there's one that's really stuck in my mind of late. A few weeks ago, a number of us were invited to Portsmouth Football Club on the occasion of playing Leeds in the Championship. And we marched out onto the centre circle at the beginning of the match to tremendous applause from all members of the stadium. But the announcer then said, and it's particularly pertinent today because the city of Leeds obviously is the affiliated city for HMS Ark Royal. And then the 3,000 Leeds supporters in the East Stand started chanting to the Portsmouth fans, "They're ours, not yours." Now the spirit of the Ark continues, and I'm sure you'll be glad to hear that we remain positive despite the various challenges we've had to deal with since the announcement on the 19th of October that we would be leaving the fleet early. And all the visitors we've had on board recently have made a comment that the ship's company remains particularly buoyant despite the fact that we're all going on to pass this year in the near future. And they are continuing the legacy of Ark Royal forever. I'm glad to say that we today will be presenting the ship's bell to the city of Leeds, and Lord Mayor, can I ask you to look after it for the next few years, and a number of other artefacts which we've carried with us all around the world, including the hanging ram, being the centrepiece of many dinners and lunches that the captain has had during the last 25 years. And also the wonderful chairs that will go to St. Peter's Church, again on loan until the next Ark Royal arrives. So what is the future? There have been some difficult decisions made by the government, and of course for us we were at the very centre of that in terms of the Royal Navy and obviously the Harrier force, which the aircraft we carry. But we look ahead to the new carriers, and in some 40 months we should have HMS Queen Elizabeth alongside in Portsmouth, taking carrier aviation into the future, and she will be the forefront of the United Kingdom's presence worldwide. So it is exciting times. I know there are members of the Fleet Air Arm Association here today, and hopefully it will be a new chapter for the Fleet Air Arm. Now the name of Ark Royal is iconic, and it has a really special meaning, and certainly the support we've had from all around the country, in particular from Leeds, just shows how important the name is. And of course we, as the current ship company, would like to see the name to come back in the future. So any support you can give to that campaign would be very much appreciated. So finally, to say a very brief thank you again for the opportunity today to exercise our freedom of the city of Leeds, and I'm sure it'll be a